I love noir. I'll take all kinds. The hard-boiled detective, the seedy crime story, neo-noir, classic pulp, you name it, I'm buying.
Okay.
So when Mouse P.I. for Hire sauntered onto my screen the way Ilsa walks into Rick's in Casablanca, I was pretty excited about it. But noir isn't just an aesthetic to be thrown on like an old coat as you're leaving your office at the behest of a leggy blonde. While Mouse P.I. for Hire clearly understands the style and tropes of classic noir films and novels as well as 1930s cartoons more broadly, it doesn't seem to get why those things are there or how they're used to tell compelling stories. By fusing a hard-boiled detective mystery with a fast, retro-styled FPS, developer Fumi Games has made a shooter that is thematically incoherent, with the apparent aspirations of its story contradicted at every point by the actual action. Of all the Steam libraries and all the PCs in all the world, Mouse P.I. for Hire walked into mine. And I wish I liked it more than I do.
It's over. You got nowhere left to run.
I run toward the dream! A bright future ruled by big mice!
Mouse follows Jack Pepper, a private eye in a world where everyone is a mouse, after Wanda Fuller from the Mouseburg Herald sets him on the case of a missing magician.
I can give you more than a crumb, Jack. I can give you a magician.
As you'd expect, that spirals into a much bigger conspiracy that includes an attempt on a mayoral candidate's life and racially motivated mouse-on-mouse violence as bigger mice oppress the smaller shrews.
My buddy got nabbed for just being a shrew!
Same as it ever was, even in Mouseburg, and the requisite twists and turns you'd expect from any good detective story make this tale solid enough.
I was in too deep. Way deeper than I signed up for.
What bothers me, however, is how overly referential so much of it is. The world is full of mice, so everything is about cheese. Everything. A bad guy? He's a cheese-legger.
These cheese-leggers in on the shrew racket.
Run into a lady mouse with a sultry voice? It'll be described as
Gorgonzola picante slapped on a mozzarella platter.
someone need to assure you they're telling the truth.
Swear on my mama's cottage curds.
This is charming initially, then it never stops. Everything is a reference to the fact that everyone is a mouse and mice like cheese, and when it's not, instead it'll be a reference to an old cartoon, or the fact that this is a video game.
When you jump, just act like you didn't.
I should have probably guessed the former when one of the first things I saw was a steamboat named Willie, but at least that and the reference-heavy power-ups are cute. Constant callbacks to classic films or other video games? Not so much. And it doesn't end there. A boss fight in the sewers? It's a literal alligator because of course it is. If you're looking for the cheese-liking foreman, Jack will quip that he doesn't look like much of a boss.
More like a mini-boss.
And then laugh at his own joke. The voice actors, led by Troy Baker, do an admirable job with what they have, but nothing in Mouseburg is allowed to just be. It has to be a mouse reference, or a literally cheesy one-liner.
Cheddar. What's wrong with Gouda?
No good if you broke, Jack.
Or a reference to something else.
Ticket seller. I'm going on a perilous journey, so I need your strongest tickets.
It's hard to care about anything in Mouse P.I. for Hire because it never stops making jokes about everything.
Here's Jacko.
It just wants to remind you of other better things. Surely that's enough, right?
Time to find someone higher up and squeeze until they suck.
At least the shooting is better. This is the latest in a wave of boomer shooters inspired by old school FPSs like Doom or Quake, and it's a decent one at that. You start with a pistol in Jack's fists, but you'll soon acquire a shotgun, dynamite, a James gun, which is just a Tommy gun, and more unique stuff like the Devarnisher, which shoots what looks like Elmer's glue that melts the flesh from your enemy's bones, leaving only a skeleton. Throw in stuff like a double jump, dash, spinning tail for hovering, and a slide, and Jack's got some stylish moves when the bad guys show up. This ain't Quake, but it does feel good. It doesn't hurt that all of it, from reload animations to random conversations, is rendered in an absolutely gorgeous black and white mix of sprite work and 3D models. The world building may be thin, but Mouse P.I. for Hire is still dressed to the nines. Even here, though, I have issues. Weapons can feel weak, especially the shotgun. It's got the audio kick of a pop gun, and there's a strange disconnect to seeing something that sounds like a kid's toy blow off some poor mouse's head as you paint the white of the world with black ichor that spews from his neck. Enemies mostly come out of doors marked with a skull that you can't enter, robbing these areas of anything remotely resembling a sense of place. Levels also really like to pull the "we're gonna lock you in a room and throw baddies at you until they're dead or you are" shtick a little too much for my taste. None of this is game-breaking. The combat is fundamentally good enough to carry you to the end of the roughly 12-hour campaign, but sometimes it feels like being at a show that's never quite bad enough to leave. And at least on the normal difficulty, health items are so generous there's rarely a challenge. Like any good boomer shooter, there are plenty of secrets to find: newspapers, weapon upgrade schematics, baseball cards, and so on. Fragile walls to blow up, and even locked safes to open with your tail, which pulls double duty as a lockpick. Some of these locks are on a time limit, or must be solved in a limited number of moves, and you only get one shot at the good stuff they hold. Others are so easy you could probably solve them by letting an actual mouse run across your keyboard. It's very jarring. Once you're done with the level, it's back to the hub, which encompasses Jack's office, the local bar, store, weapon upgrade shop, and so on. My favorite thing here is the baseball card minigame you can play at the bar. You'll switch between pitching and being at bat, and using the cards in your hand, players and abilities, to try to score as many runs as you can. It's fun! What I like less is the whole being a detective thing, mostly because I never actually got to do it. Any clues you find will be pinned to Jack's caseboard, and once you get them there, Jack will just intuit where to go. No work on your part required. What's the point of being a gumshoe if all the answers are handed right to me?
Better check it out. It began with a call. Routine. Familiar.
That brings me to one of my major problems with Mouse PI for Hire. Look, I hate to be that guy who brings up Ludonarrative dissonance in a video game review in the year of our Lord 2026, and if you're rolling your eyes right now, I can't blame you, but it's an actual issue here. Jack Pepper is a PI who kills more people in a single mission than Philip Marlowe has in every book Raymond Chandler ever wrote combined. I don't care how corrupt the cops are. A private detective can't break into a police station and slaughter them en masse and then go about his day. In one particularly nonsensical scenario, Jack inadvertently burns down an opera house to save a guy running for mayor, and he ends up fighting an opera singer and shoots her? Is she dead? Did I just kill an actress for being angry I burned down her workplace? If I didn't, have I left her alive and unconscious inside a burning building?
Well, Billy Stone did get blown to Kingdom Come.
Mouse PI for Hire doesn't tell me, and it doesn't seem to care either way.
Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
None of this is to say that noir cannot or should not be violent, but the violence usually has a purpose. Much of Elliot Chase's seminal novel Black Wings Has My Angel is about robbing an armored car, but the book builds to that. It's a big deal when it finally happens, and the characters have to reckon with the fallout once it does. Jack Pepper, on the other hand, is a walking catastrophe, and nobody in Mouseburg seems to care. He largely gets to go about his business and is portrayed as a down-on-his-luck everyman PI, like the characters who inspired him, when he is, at best, a mass murderer.
You implying something, Mr. Pepper?
Me? Imply? Never. I just connect the dots.
Does that make for a more fun video game? Maybe. But it's bad noir and a worse detective tale. In the story as Mouse PI for Hire references, violence is an unfortunate but unavoidable part of the human experience that shatters the people it touches. Here, it's just entertainment, and that weakens the whole concept. But Will, you might say, this is a goofy Looney Tunes FPS. Why should I care about any of that? And the answer is because Mouse wants you to. It wants you to believe that this is important. You spend a lot of time talking about these characters, about putting together the clues you need to get to the bottom of what's going on, about Jack's motivation for doing the work. He allegedly needs the money, which both leads him to taking cases and doesn't track when I'm super rich from all the killing.
Nonsense. You're drowning in debt, picking up small fries and petty cases.
All of that makes a lot less sense after you've gone to Tinsel Bros Studios and single-handedly eradicated the mob hanging out there, all while doing a bunch of Tomb Raider / Indiana Jones / Conan the Barbarian impressions, as everyone says you should be an actor.
So tell us, hero, what is best in life?
To grate some parm, watch the cheese melt, and hear the joyful squeaks of my dinner guests.
Give this guy a week on the job as chief of police in Mouseburg would be the safest city in the world because nobody would be left alive to commit crimes in the first place. It's hard to buy into Jack as the regular guy who needs to gather evidence I'm told he is when he just wiped out the local police department, you know?
The police arcade? We're sure went big on this one.
Mouse PI for Hire nails the aesthetics of both the 1930s cartoons and the detective stories that inspired it. And it's also an amusing boomer shooter that largely feels good as you're playing it. But its haphazard marriage of noir storytelling tropes and shooter gameplay are often at odds with each other in uncomfortable ways that weaken both aspects. And the writing is so busy making references to other things that it's actually painful to sit through at times. This FPS is solid enough if you just want to blast some cartoon mice and not think about it too hard, but once you do, all you'll see are the seams where disparate ideas have been fused together, and no trench coat can hide the stink of that moldy cheese. For more, check out our reviews of Pragmata and Resident Evil Requiem, and for everything else in gaming, keep it here at IGN.